What's up everyone, Zach with ZH Fitness. Have you ever wished your arms were so big they had their own zip code? Well, you're in luck because today we're finally going to give those pencil thin arms a proper eviction notice. So get ready to arm yourself with knowledge. Just about any weightlifter wants to have giant arms that they can put on display for the world to see. Nothing spells incredible physique quite like having impressive arms. But most people struggle to see results and miss out on a lot of potential growth opportunity due to improper workout frequency. So I've included tons of workouts throughout this video, so make sure to stick around for that. First things first, as always, make sure your diet is in check. In order to achieve hypertrophy for any muscle, you must be in a caloric surplus. We've already made an in-depth video on this, so make sure to check that out if you haven't. We'll leave a link down in the description below. However, assuming you're already in a caloric surplus, the next thing I need to worry about is training. First, we'll talk about the bicep. Surprisingly, this isn't the most important muscle when it comes to overall size, but it still plays a critical role. As the name suggests, the bicep is made of two heads. The long head, which attaches up in the shoulder and runs down the outer portion of the arm, and then the short head, which is closer to the front of the arm and runs down the inner portion of the arm. The long head is what makes up the peak of the bicep and gives you that tall, pointy look. This will make your arm look significantly larger and certainly stand out in a crowd. To target the long head specifically, you'll want to do lifts with your elbows tight to the body or back behind the body with your hands in a close grip position. However, because it is also responsible for supination, which simply means just twisting the wrist, you'll make sure to want to incorporate this in your workouts in order to optimize muscle activation. One great option for this would be a modified version of the dumbbell curl. To do this, you'll need to sit on a bench at a 45-degree angle setting and let your arms fall back behind the body and carry out the curls in this position. Towards the top of the lift, make sure to focus on supination of the wrist, which again just means twisting the wrist upward. This position is a great option as it puts extra stretch and tension on the long head specifically. Close grip barbell curls are another great option. Here you'll also want to focus on squeezing and supination at the top of the contraction. This is a great option for overloading because you can add a little bit more weight to the bar than you can with a standard dumbbell curl. Along with close grip curls, drag curls and crossbody curls also provide a great opportunity for isolating the long head. And now the short head, which gives your arm that wide look when looking at it from the front. To target the short head, you'll essentially want to do the opposite of what you did for the long head. You'll want to perform lifts with your elbows further away from the body and your hands in a much wider grip. A few great options for this would be lifts like wide grip dumbbell curls, easy bar curls, and of course, preacher curls. Any of these three are great options as they tend to limit the role of the long head throughout the lift while emphasizing the short head. Now for the good stuff, something you don't hear mentioned very often, the brachialis. Brachialis actually runs underneath the long head, and as it grows, it will push up on the long head, making that peak even more prominent. This is a great little bonus tip to maximize arm size. In order to work the brachialis, my go-to is the hammer curl. Notice your hands stay in a neutral position throughout this lift as the brachialis doesn't really play a role in supination. Reverse curls are another great option as well. So now we know about the long head, the short head, and the brachialis, which all contribute to the size of your arm. But as we mentioned, the bicep is of lesser importance when it comes to overall arm size. Now to find the most important factor, we'll want to move on to the tricep, which can account for up to 70% of the upper arm. This is why triceps alone can make it a significant increase in overall arm size and are well worth the effort into developing. Your tricep, as the name implies, is composed of three heads: the long head, the lateral head, and the much smaller medial head. Let's talk about how you can target each of these specifically. The long head is activated when you perform lifts such as behind the head dumbbell extensions, behind the back extensions, and even overhead extensions. To target the medial head, I prefer tricep dips off the edge of a bench, or sometimes even straight bar pull downs. Lastly, to target the lateral head, you can do a tricep pull down with the elbows facing slightly outward, or another simple option would be diamond push-ups. To simplify things, anytime you extend the elbow, you're contracting the tricep, engaging all three heads. Just like with the bicep, anytime you bend the elbow, you are engaging both heads of the bicep. When trying to target specific muscles, understanding the anatomy of the arm will make it much easier in developing mind-muscle connection, which is absolutely critical when it comes to optimizing growth and stimulation. Moving on from individual lifts, let's talk about training regiments, which the three commonly used are progressive overload, eccentric training, and isometric training. It is very important to utilize all three. First, let's talk about progressive overload, which is a continued increase in your workload over time, whether this be through adding more weight or increasing rep volume. Secondly, eccentric training. Basically, this is just the downward portion of the lift. This should be done very slowly and in a controlled manner. Eccentric training is critical as this provides an opportunity for greater overload since we are much stronger in this portion of the lift. Muscle soreness is also a byproduct of this style of training. Lastly, isometric training. This is a static type of training. Something we're all familiar with would be something like the plank. This is a great example of isometric training. This is just a rough overview. Each style of training deserves its own video, but for now, just keep it simple and focus on the workouts that we discussed previously, and you'll continue to see results. Now for training mistakes. I often encounter individuals who are putting in the effort and work, yet fail to see results. What's the issue? Usually, believe it or not, this is due to overtraining. Muscle growth comes in two ways: breaking down of the muscle in the gym, and then the repairing of the muscle done by the body, which requires rest. If you're working your arms continuously and expecting them to grow, you are ultimately doing more harm than good. Proper rest is critical when it comes to muscle growth. In reality, your bicep is a very small muscle which doesn't need much stimulation. Loading up too much weight often leads to cheat reps where the movement is no longer controlled. Your reps should look something like this and not like this. Combine that with the fact that any other pull movement also works the bicep. You are often double working the bicep when doing these other lifts. People are often shocked when I tell them I only isolate my bicep for about 10 minutes a day on back and bicep day. But anything more than this is just breaking down the muscle beyond repair and doing more harm than good. So instead of cramming in as much weight and as reps as possible, you just need to focus on optimizing the lifts that you are currently doing. It's hard to induce muscle growth when you are activating all the surrounding supporting muscle groups and letting the target muscle slack off. Let go of your ego and grow the muscles you are trying to grow. Aside from having big arms, big shoulders will absolutely take any physique to the next level. We actually made a video on just that, so make sure to check that out as well. In the meantime, take care to follow the lessons in this video, and I promise you'll be on your way to the giant arms we're all trying to achieve. I hope you found some use in this video. Thanks a lot for sticking around. We hope to see you on the next one.